I'm not sure if we started, but I can't hear anything.
Thank you.
Hello?
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, I can hear a little bit now.
Thank you.
We need to do that again.
Amber, I'm just calling roll.
I'm
So
here.
Ms. Laflamme,
Here.
Mr. Morno,
Here.
Ms. Roman, Mr. Sarnelli, Dr. Ware,
Here.
7 present, 6 absent.
Okay. Is there anybody here for public input at this time?
Anybody want to speak? Okay.
Okay. Continuing with this evening's meeting, the approval of the minutes of the August 14th, 2025 meeting and the August 28th, 2025 meeting. Is there any discussion or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Can we do them separately, please? Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll take the first one again. It's the August 14th, 2025 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll. Yes.
Yes.
Miss Lambert?
I can't hear you, Sarah, but I think you said my name. Yes.
Ms. Laflamme,
Abstain, please.
Mr. Morno,
Abstain.
Mr. Sarnelli,
Yes.
Dr. Ware,
Yes.
5 yes, 2 abstained.
The motion passes. The second, entertain a motion for the August 28th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Kozakowski,
Yes.
Ms. Collins-Kalba, Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Laflamme,
Yes.
Mr. Morno,
Abstain.
Ms. Roman. Sorry. Mr. Sarnelli,
Yes.
Dr. Ware,
Yes.
6 yes, 2 abstained.
The motion passes. I'd like to make note that Ms. Roman just arrived. Thank you. Communications. I'd like to start out with communications. The City Council on Monday held a special meeting regarding the status, and there was a question and answer period. I thought that was very, very fruitful for everybody in attendance at that meeting. Was Miss Lissy. It was Kate, and I also attended. At the meeting, there was several things that were brought up by individual counselors, and one of the things that I remember, that I recalled, is every one of them is extremely interested in a lot of the components that are going into the decisions regarding the Anna Berry New Elementary School. One of them, which is quite obvious, is the cost of the structure in 2025. And if the ground isn't broken for, in the near distance, the price will be going up even more. One of the proposals that we have been working on diligently for several months was let's make sure I get this correct, was the satellite site, which we kept referring to as site in phase D3, the consolidation of Berry Elementary School and Satella Early Preschool. The cost of combining the two and putting all of that together is came out to a little over $136 million. And everybody in attendance, and there was nobody in disagreement, that's an exceptionally large amount of money. The city is also very generous to the schools in the city of Chicopee. However, there is a limitation on the amount of money that could possibly go into this project. There's a lot of people that I have spoken to in the community that would, have a vision of combining the schools, consolidating them, and putting together a project, okay, that would perhaps far exceed the ability of the bond committee and the city council to appropriate that large sum of money. There was a lot of discussion and questions that pertain to the $136 million, such as some of the soft costs that we'd be going into, the added additions of like safety and the traffic and so on and so forth, which would even elevate the cost perhaps even more than $136 million. So I believe that the superintendent, the mayor, I believe the bond commission met recently and came to the conclusion that the $136 million price tag would not fit at this point in time. That maybe sometime in the future, what would be not put into the project could be addressed in the future. The city council asked, as I said, a lot of questions. And one of the major questions was, out of that $136 million, the amount going into the preschool component that would be added to the project. Because again, when you consolidate, you're taking two schools, you are basically making them one at that site. There would be no reimbursement from the MSBA for the preschool, anything dealing with the preschool. And that that would have been a big chunk of money to that, that was added to the 136 million. So people who attended, including those of us who represented the commission, came to the conclusion that, this evening, when we get, I think, to item 6 on the agenda, we should reconsider and eliminate that consolidation, which was D3 in all of our, data and information that we were working on. Does anybody have anything else to add?
Meeting.
Okay.
Regarding the city council meeting?
The council.
Yes.
Yeah, so the purpose of the meeting was to update the city councilors on the progress of this project. We recapped what we did in the PDP, coming up with the 12 different options and how we evaluated them, and got down to the 4 we are currently studying. And then we went through all of the options in detail with the exception of D3. We didn't go through that one in detail, but basically we reviewed the site plans, we reviewed the floor plans, the layout of the buildings as they currently stand, and the city councilors had questions about cost, how some different site elements connect to different neighborhoods, concerns about traffic, and concerns about keeping all the traffic on site during queuing times. We knew that they had that concern ahead of time because of Councilor Laflamme's previous comments. So we prepared for that and got bus and car counts ahead of the meeting and illustrated that we could fit all those in all 3 of the options.
there any other questions or comments? Okay. Next on our agenda is approval of invoices, and we have two tonight. First one is for Colliers, and the invoice number is 00010888181. And the invoice reads $20,000, $562.60. And again, it's for work done regarding the project at this phase that we are presently in.
I'll make a motion to approve Collier's invoice for $20,562.60.
Second.
Okay, the motion passes, or take a vote? Yes. Oh, Mr. Chapdelaine is now. okay,
Yes, I'm here. Yes,
via Zoom.
I'm here.
Mr. Kozakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Chapdelaine,
Yes,
Ms. Collins Kaba,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Laflamme,
Yes.
Mr. Morneau,
Yes.
Ms. Roman,
Yes.
Mr. Sarnelli,
Yes.
Dr. Ware,
Yes.
9 yes.
And the motion passes. The second invoice that we'll be approving tonight is for Keolo and B for $39,123.44. Do I have a motion? Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll, please.
Mr. Kozakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Chapdelaine, Mr. Chapdelaine,
Mr. Chapdelaine?
yes, sorry.
Ms. Collins Kaba,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Laflamme,
Yes.
Mr. Morneau,
Yes.
Ms. Roman,
Yes.
Mr. Sarnelli,
Yes.
Dr. Ware,
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Number 9, the owner's project Colliers manager update.
Thank you very much. If we could start the presentation, please. So while that's being pulled up, I handed out 3 different schedules for the folks that are here, and for those online, we do have them in this presentation as well. So if we can go to the next slide. Perfect. So what we have here, I handed out the original schedule, and then I also handed out 2 alternative schedules that we wanted to look at. Just what we are looking to do is push out the next submission date. And the reason for that is because obviously we had a lot of choices that we've been looking at. I know, Marie, you've been looking at the budget on your end, and then also we just received the comments back from the PDP submission just yesterday, which is they came in later than they typically do. Usually it's about 3 weeks. And this one took about 6 to 7 weeks to actually get the comments back from the MSBA. So we're in the process of reviewing those comments now, and we have 14 days to respond to the MSBA with those comments. So myself and James and Bert will look at those comments and respond accordingly to the MSBA. But with that being said, the next submission date that we have on our original schedule is October 23rd, and that is for the PSR submission, the preferred schematic report. And that is where the district really decides the preferred option that they want to go with and submit that to the MSBA. So with conversations that we just had and conversations we've been having, I don't think the committee or the commission is at that point just yet to make a final decision. So that's why we have 2 alternative schedules that we like to look at and make a vote to see which option we want to go with. So as I mentioned, the original schedule, we have a submission date of October 23rd and with an MSBA board meeting of December 12th. In between that, we do have a facilities assessment subcommittee. That's where we meet with the MSBA and talk about the option, and we kind of go through the ed program and the design option for the preferred option. So that's where we are now. And from there, you move into modular 4, which is the schematic design. And we are looking to have the submission on the schematic design currently in February of 26 with the MSBA board meeting of April of 26. So that's our current schedule. So again, we are looking to push that out just because I don't feel that this commission's ready just yet to make that decision. And so the next two schedules that we'll look at, it doesn't push out the funding of the project. I do have some questions on that. Just as far as how the city council sets up those meetings. And so that's one of our questions is there a specific time frame for their approval that they need this ahead of time? Or, you know, is it as long as it's on the agenda? How many times, what do they meet? Once a month? Twice a month? Is it, you know, for this project here, obviously, you know, there's time and thought. You want to make sure it's in ahead of time so they have plenty of time to review it. But is there, for capital projects like this, is there a certain time frame that we have to hit in order to have this you know, on the agenda?
On
for
the
a meeting?
agenda?
Yeah.
So always on the agenda, it's the Tuesday before the prior week, so
Okay.
like a week and a half
Okay,
before.
so there's no special meeting that we need for approving capital projects like this, is my question.
They
I
may
guess.
want that though, because
Yeah.
if there's a lot of, I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion.
Yeah, and they
so
want to prep for it and look
Yeah.
through the submissions and
Yeah.
all that type of stuff.
Just to get on an agenda, it's like a week
Mm.
and a half, but I mean, they're gonna need a lot more time. to
Yeah,
review.
and we'll make sure they have enough time. I just didn't know if there was something within the city that it's different than any other city council meeting. So none of these end dates at the end, this last section here, this Mod 5 of funding the project, that doesn't change in any of these schedules. So we're really keeping that end date the same. We're just shifting up the submission dates that go in between there.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So if we look at option 1, if we can go to the next slide, please. Oh, you got it. There you go. Yeah. Working. Perfect. All right. So the alternative option 1 is we are moving in modular 3, which is that green section there. We would like to move the submission date of the PSR to December 18th. And that bumps the facilities assessment meetings to either January 4th or January 28th. And then that also bumps up the MSBA board meeting to February 25th of 2026. So you're moving it to the next submission, which is 2 months out. And actually alternative 1 and 2, we're during modular 3, we're bumping it out to the December 18th submission date. What changes between option 1 and option 2 is the modular 4, the schematic design. And that's Dr. Ware, where I probably have more questions for you on that than the rest of the commission, just because it's depending on what option you go with is going to determine your availability and the district's availability to meet with the design team and how often we can meet. So again, as I mentioned, this pushes it out 2 months to the December 18th submission date. And then the schematic design, that pushes out the submission date to April 30th with an MSBA board meeting of June 24th. Option 2, again, the modular 3, that still stays the same with a December 18th submission date, but we're bumping out the modular 4 schematic design submission another cycle than option 1. And that puts us at a June 25th of 2026 submission date with an MSBA board meeting of 8/26/2026. And again, that modular 4 schematic design, that approves from the MSBA standpoint us to go to the city council to try and obtain funding. So you have your budget, you have your scope of the project, everything set on the district's end. Now it's time to fund the project. So after you get through that, then that's when you move into at the end of schematic designs when you're trying to get the funding for the
And I
project.
think July and August, they only have one meeting, but I really believe this is something for a special.
Yeah, if we can do a special meeting, I'm sure we can, you know, make that happen. That'd be great. And so the difference between, if we look at modular 4 is between option 1 and option 2, is really giving us enough time to make sure we're making the right decision. So during schematic design in option 1, we have 17 weeks before the MSBA board meeting. So Dr. Ware, I was talking with Bert before he left on vacation, and he said in order for, and it doesn't matter on Kalo's side, and James, you can chime in here too if it if I say something that's incorrect, but he's feeling that it would have to be meetings set up, twice a week with the district, standing meetings, and they'd probably be 2 to 3 hour meetings for that to happen, in order to hit those dates. And he knows that's a lot of commitment on your end. Obviously, you guys have, a school district to run and everything else. So that's what would be required in order to hit the dates here, in this option 1. Option 2 gives us a little bit more leeway, that we actually have 26 weeks in between the submission dates of mod 3 and mod 4, between those 2 different board meetings, which gives us a little bit more leeway as far as the district's end in setting up time and making sure that you have the availability, in your daytime job to dedicate to the project itself.
So that's a choice you want us to vote on?
Yeah,
tonight?
it'd be option versus option where we have,
Sounds like option 2
Yeah.
is the best.
yeah,
I
I
think
want
we're
to have discussion.
looking
Yeah.
at your schedule and I'm like, May, June?
Right, so it does give the district more time, and we're not trying to tie you guys up for, that's a lot, that's a big commitment. Two days a week for 2 to 3 hours each meeting. I'm sure is a big commitment on your end, trying to make sure you have folks available.
It definitely is. I mean, if you or Bert or both of you were saying to me like, hey, we would like to go with option 1 because there's some benefits,
Mhm.
we would make it work.
Yeah.
I'll honestly tell you that.
Yeah.
However, if there isn't any incentive to get it done with option 1, I would prefer option 2
Yeah.
because like Ms. Laflamme just said, May, June, school
Yeah.
district.
Right, I think the only difference really, I mean, what it does is it's, we wish they met every month, the MSBA, because,
Quarterly, right?
yeah, well, they meet twice, they meet every other month, the board. So if they met in between there, that'd be like the sweet spot, but, option 1 is really pushing it, option 2 is plenty of time. So if, like I said,
I have some questions on this,
yes.
Adam. Okay, so first, I'm wondering the pushing back of this first option, the first thing that we're pushing back, our submission to, when we make a decision. Are we getting more information between now and when we were going to make a decision? Or why can't we make a decision in the next 4 weeks? We already met with city council. I guess I'm just not understanding why we need to even push that out if we're not going to get any more information. We can just discuss and decide.
There will be more information, and additionally, there's additional estimates that are going to be coming out, which are a little bit more detailed. And so in order to have those estimates done, and discuss them and go through the different parts and pieces of that, it's going to take more time. So at this point, to get those estimates done and to review them and to have, conversations that are, engaging, we're looking to push this out.
And what estimates are we waiting for?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
What estimates are we waiting for besides the traffic study that was already in the works? I'm just thinking like this is a whole month and I feel like we have a couple meetings in between there. I'd like to make a decision sooner rather than later if we can. And then also looking at the second option, I am so worried about having to go to city council in June and ask them for money right when it's around the time of budget season and everybody's already super stressed out about budget. And I know this is a separate thing from like the school budget, but I just feel like that is not good timing for us to come to them right around the time when we're going to ask the school committee to approve a certain budget. And then we're going to go to the city council and ask them to approve like $1 million budget. I feel like that's just not good timing on our behalf.
So I can answer 2 of those questions. So the first one with the estimate, so what we were looking at originally and what the design team was looking at was estimates based off of basically square foot pricing, not detailed estimates. These estimates that are going to be done are hundreds of pages long. So now that the design is a little bit further along in each of the options, these go out to a third-party estimator, and they do full estimates that are very detailed. And so those take time. So we haven't gotten to that point yet. We've basically just been going off of square foot pricing, which is typical for, this phase of the project. But now we have to get into more detailed estimates. So that's where the estimates are going to become more refined. And we're going to be continuing to do estimates throughout this entire project until we get into, construction essentially, just to make sure that we're staying on budget. But that's where the estimates come into play. And the district and everybody would want to see these estimates, and the MSBA is requiring that we do a detailed estimate.
So you're saying that's gonna take a long time to get those estimates?
That would take time, and Bert, you can, or I'm sorry, James, you can speak to that as well.
Yeah, it takes a couple weeks in order to hit the original date.
October 23rd.
The original submission date, I think I think the boat has already sailed on that. We would have had to submit to our cost estimator already. We could have done it at the last building commission meeting, but that one didn't get posted. So we I feel we kind of missed the boat. Additionally, there's other costs outside of the project that it sounds like folks in the city council are interested in getting a better handle on, such as if there's a traffic solution at Satella, what are the costs for land replacement and development of replacement land if the site is Garrity Grove. So from what I can tell, folks in the city are interested in getting a handle on those other costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just the cost estimating is just gonna take a little bit longer at this point.
Okay, and then the fact that it looks like on our thing, we would be asking on this second one, the second option that's up on the projector, we're going to be asking city council June 25th to approve that. Is that what that says?
No, so that's what I was gonna answer your second question. So mod 4 is our submission to the MSBA is on June 25th, and the MSBA board approval is on August 26th. After that, once you have approval from the board, and then you try and secure funding. So
Okay.
we're coming in after August to look for funding approval. And so we can determine when that's gonna happen. Usually that takes a couple months in order to make sure we have the package together, it gets submitted to city council, they have time to review it, and then we have the meeting. So that's where I was gonna answer that question. I think it's gonna fall outside of your budget issue that you were talking about.
Mhm. Okay, so when in here would the city council vote? Are we saying like in that August, or they vote way at the end, at the bottom, like number 21 on your list? Is that the first time they vote?
So the first, when they'll vote on this is gonna be after the MSBA board meeting, and that's why I was asking the question earlier, as far as when, is there a specific time for capital projects like this that they need to have a certain time in advance that we need to, let them know that the meeting is gonna happen and submit the package to them. So if we get an approval in, we're gonna say August,
MSBA is.
MSBA.
August.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, so if we do August, we could look at, if we're looking at an October, maybe city council meeting.
Okay,
The city.
thank you for answering my questions.
City council would say, go ahead and try and secure funding, or we would try and secure
No.
funding and then vote on the funding security.
No, so what we're doing is we're submitting to the MSBA, okay, so after that MSBA final vote, then it's up to the city to secure funding for the project. And that comes down to a city council vote saying that they're voting to bond for this project.
Right, that's the thing. So they'd say, oh, the city council would say, okay, go out and try and get funding for this amount. Or-
Well, I'm sure Marie and her team will be
Right.
looking at what the bonding options are, the interest rates, all those types of things, what the borrowing looks like. So the city council has a full view.
That means.
Yes, that would be presented. Yes, so we would have our package of the scope and the budget, and then Marie on her end would have what the bonding would look like for that. And then the city council would vote to approve the project scope and budget based off of the submission that we had, along with Marie's, calculations and the bonding for information for the project.
Approximately October of 26th.
Yes.
Right. The only thing I want to mention, because I know there's concerns with council meetings and things like that, they're going to be well aware continuously where we're at. You know, we need to keep them informed.
Right.
We should already know by October, they should be ready to make that decision. That's
Right.
not going to be like, oh, hello, we're borrowing. We're going to know the details before that, and they should too.
No, I came away from the special council meeting this past Monday, and I took from their conversations with all of us that they want, a better, number, the soft components that are going into this project. They want to make sure that, again, there's communication between the city council, the school committee, and also, okay, the finance, financial group that is working, that works for the city of Chicopee. They, again, just want a lot more information. And I felt that, to gain support of, obviously the majority of the counselors, we are working with, we have to give them more information, and also the school committee and also the public. These numbers that we've been working with are, okay, but they want a little more. They want the total more accurately reflecting the total that it's going to cost the city. The parts of the.
And that's where these estimates come into play
Yeah.
that we're doing
Right.
now.
Could I
So-
ask a question? Could I ask the folks over here on this end to explain, just for everybody's knowledge, because this is new to a lot of people
Yes.
too. Because when we throw out these numbers like the 100 million or 104, okay, we're gonna make a decision on which project we want.
Yes.
But that 100 is the total project, and then we get maybe 80% of some of those items, plus soft costs. They talk about soft costs that are included in that 100, but there's a lot of soft costs that are not included, and that's where I think the city council was asking. Could you just explain a little bit more detailed so that everybody understands what soft costs you're including in these numbers versus what we need a little more information on, like the safety, the roads, the sidewalks, all of that is not included.
Mm-mm.
But before you start, so that I don't have, I think this will answer both our questions at this. time.
Sure.
So in addition to that, you said maybe 80, but all along, I've been hearing 60% at best, so I'm not sure where the 80.
So you want to explain that?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
the soft cost will be on the city non-reimbursable or
Correct.
reimbursable as part of the project. So I'm understanding that those were not reimbursable to the city.
Right,
as
there's
reimbursed.
different soft costs. That's why I wanted to make sure everybody
Could
could
explain
explain.
Yeah,
it.
so the city has a reimbursement rate of 80%, and that's 80% of eligible costs. So we're gonna go through and we fill out what's called a 3011 form. And once we get a little bit further along, you'll see this form over and over again as we go into it. Basically, it's a large MSBA Excel sheet that you fill out and you put all your hard costs and your soft costs in there. And based off of what's in there, there's formulas that are in there that's gonna tell you what's eligible and what's not eligible. And so when we talked about the 80 versus 60, we were talking about it's 80% of eligible cost, but of the total project cost, you're probably looking at, 60%.
The construction costs are higher than what is eligible to be.
Correct.
reimbursed.
Yeah, the
Yes.
cost per square foot,
Right,
the-
so it's really not 80
yes.
because the construction costs are higher than
Yeah,
what's allowed.
It's construction costs and then you cap it. There's site work that has a cap to it. Your offsite improvements that you would do on any project are not reimbursable by the MSBA. So there's a lot of things in there, and your furniture and fixture, there's a cap right now at $1,200 a student. And so if you go over that, anything over $1,200 a student for the furniture and technology, that's not reimbursed by the MSBA. So there's a lot of different categories in there that there's either a cap or there's items that are not reimbursable by the MSBA. So that's where we're saying you get 80% of eligible cost. In our history, we went back and looked at, in the past 5 or 6 projects, of that, say 80%, we're getting 95% of that back, which is great. But total project with the 60% is what you're saying, is the city would see about 60% of that covered of the total project, if that makes sense. So that's where you're hearing to the 2 different numbers. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so you mentioned square foot costs of construction. Additionally, there are some spaces in the program that we received comments yesterday from the MSBA, and they've expressed that some spaces they'll support, but they will not reimburse for. One example is the entirety of the Zatella program. If we include that, if we went with option D3, everything that's in that Zatella program, none of that would be supported financially by the MSBA, but they would allow the city to go forward with that. They just don't support pre-K programs. There are other elements too, and I think that's maybe another part of the conversation is we might need to be looking at that depending on what the city's ultimate burden on the city is, what they have an appetite for.
Thank you.
But there's things outside of the project that may be required. So again, Garrity Grove Park, we all know it's Article 97 parkland. In order to build on that site, we need to replicate approximately 5 acres of land and develop it for passive recreation. So, we're looking at one site with the planning department, but we don't yet know if the Parks Department has the resources to maintain that. We don't yet know if it can be developed for passive recreation accessibly, which the planning department tells us would be required as well. And if we don't use that property, maybe the city has to purchase another piece of property. What does it cost to develop that? I don't have that information until we know what the scope of that would be. And then at Zatella, there's based on the comments I read this morning from the MSBA, I have a question about, if we develop Zatella, we need to improve the circulation for the whole site. And some of that falls on the Zatella property, like around the Zatella Early Education Center. So would they reimburse for that is a question I had. There's a comment in here that made me think maybe not, if we're increasing their parking lots or increasing the circulation around that school so we can get everybody off of Granby Road. So that might not be reimbursable. That would be within the project, I think. A traffic solution, a rotary or a light, sidewalks to get students to school, those kinds of things may or may not be within the scope of the project, but wouldn't be reimbursable. So I think there's a lot to get a handle on, whichever site we go with.
Yeah, so what we'll do before the submission, that 3011 form that I was talking about, that includes everything. So you have, again, your soft cost, your hard cost, everything that's going to be included, your furniture for the school, that includes everything from soup to nuts within the project. At the bottom of that form, it's going to tell you what the MSBA's max reimbursement is going to be, and it's going to give you a number. So our job, once we start construction, is to make sure that when we're submitting for reimbursement, that we're maximizing, trying to get as much as that money back as we can. So, whatever that number is, they'll tell you up front, this is the max you're going to get back for this project. And then throughout the project, we're just making sure that we can get as much of that back as we possibly can.
Yeah, that's how I understood it all along. Like I said, I guess, because we've talked about the 80 and we've been aware
Yeah.
all along that at best, we're probably going to get 60. So then when I heard we're getting 80%, I'm like, well, that's not how.
That's of eligible cost. So then you have to factor in
Right.
what's ineligible.
60, the whole
Yeah.
time.
You're thinking about it
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It is,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah. But 80% of eligible costs, that's a very good rate that the city has, We're working on other projects now that are at 50%, versus the 80%. So it's a large chunk of money that would be coming back to the city, with the 80%.
Is this the point where I can make a motion to accept option 2?
Oh, for
Unless
the,
there's any other discussion, yeah. Oh, true, yes. Yeah.
They can,
Yeah.
after it's seconded, we could, if there's
Discuss.
the point where we're at that point to make a motion.
I guess,
I'll make that motion.
is there further discussion, further comment?
I'll second that.
Now you can, sorry.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Again, is there any further discussion?
No discussion, but one comment is you're better off doing it this way because the MSBA wants you to do your due diligence. If you start rushing it and they start kicking stuff back, it gives them a negative attitude towards the job. So you really gotta kind of, I don't know, if kiss up is the right word, but you
Okay.
gotta do things right by the MSBA.
That's a great point, Mike, because yeah, we don't want to say, okay, let's go with option one. And then a month from now, be like, you know what, we need to push it out again. So
They frown.
that's a good point.
Yeah, yes, we have to keep, in mind that the MSBA, okay, we're partnering with them and everything we do as we progress, they have to look it over and approve it. It's not just a one-way street, what we want to do and when we want to do. We've got to work closely with the MSBA because they want to make sure the tax dollars of the Commonwealth is being, used in a very, I'm going to say frugal but effective way. Just like the city council, okay, from the other evening, they made that perfectly clear. They're very supportive of the project, but they just want to know exactly, and they don't want any, surprises or things added. They wanted to, and there was a person from the school committee, and the same thing. They want to be kept informed. Now that we are actually, starting to consider, more accurately what it is and what site and what is going to be done takes place. Is there any other comment or discussion? Anybody on Zoom?
No, I have comments, but I think it's more appropriate in the district update, but it'll pertain to this.
Oh, okay, all right. So at this time, would someone make a motion to approve?
Katie did.
Okay, so it is, okay, so we can take a roll call vote on approving to extend the PSR preferred schematic report.
Mr. Kozakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Chapdelaine,
Yes.
Ms. Collins Kaba,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Laflamme,
Yes.
Mr. Morno,
Yes.
Ms. Roman,
Yes.
Mr. Sarnelli.
Yes.
Dr. Ware,
Yes.
9 yes.
9 yes, and the motion passes.
Okay, so tomorrow I'll send an email to the MSBA, letting them know that we're gonna, and I'll submit the schedule to them and let them know that we're gonna be going
Okay.
with this option.
All right, thank you.
Well,
Okay, next item on our agenda is designer update. And I think we've kind of, had a little conversation earlier. Again, the update on the consolidation of the Barry and Satella site. Again, that it was D3 in what I originally believe was 11 or 12 proposals. And what it does is, okay, in this, if someone makes a motion, this will eliminate the combination of the Satella preschool and the Barry Elementary School. And the cost factor is, driving a lot of this. Okay?
So,
just if we can move the slides ahead, 3 slides to the scope and budget slide, please. Oh, that's good. Forgetting you now. Do you want to speak to the soil, James? And
No, I thought this was yours. This is it.
oh, this is fine. Okay. Yeah. So basically what Stan just mentioned that, we looked at 4 different options and D3 is the consolidation. And do we want to continue still investigating that as an option for the district, or do we want to remove that from the list?
Okay, I would be personally in favor of eliminating the D3 proposal.
so I'll put a motion on the table so that we can discuss it if you want, and amend it if you will. I guess we would have a motion to eliminate, oh, there we go. Based on the cost, of the design alternative D3 be removed from further to consideration as the preferred option. As a preferred option.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, it's open for discussion. Dr. Ware?
Yes, so I definitely want to speak in from the district perspective. I totally understand all sides as we've been discussing this project. One of the things that was mentioned in the previous discussion was around communication between the commission, the school committee, and the city council, which I'm happy to see that the communication is improving. As this project has unfolded, I would be remiss if I didn't say it. One of the things that I think, to speak to Miss Lambert's comment earlier about taking more time, one of the things that I think we need to really do in taking that more time is really understanding, even though we're discussing a Berry school project right now, one of the conversations we must discuss in the future is the current state of our buildings, which are increasingly getting older. And unfortunately, the economy is not on our side where things are getting cheaper. So I think even though the motion on the floor is to discuss removing Zatella as a part of the total project, I just have to say from the lens of getting students what they need, I would want us in the public to consider in the future, what does that look like in rehabbing that building, and rehabbing buildings in the elementary level. So I just wanted to say that just because of the scope of this project and how it plays out after the vote this evening and into the future.
Thank you. Any other comments? Could someone make a motion?
He did.
Oh, it's okay. Sarah, roll call.
Mr. Kozakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Chapdelaine,
Mr. Chapdelaine?
Yes.
Miss Collins Calba,
Yes.
Miss Lambert,
Yes.
Miss Laflamme,
Yes.
Mr. Morneau,
Yes.
Mr. Sarnelli,
Yes.
Dr. Ware,
Yes.
8 yes.
Yes, and the motion passes. Next on our agenda, district update. Dr. Ware, do you have anything else?
Yes, in continuation of that, what Adam and James were talking about, the MSBA sent us their feedback yesterday. It is 21 pages long. So what I just said to my team is we have some homework to do. And the format, just so those here in the viewing public, it's a task. It's not easy work. It's a lift. It's a heavy lift, and that part of that heavy lift is out of the educational plan that we submitted with the actual design package, is that the MSBA is coming back saying, okay, you said this, this is our formula. Do you really need that? That's what they're basically saying, time and time again through that. And one of the things that previously in many conversations, James and Adam have been a part of that, Bert as well, is really trying to look at the bigger picture and trying to give students what they deserve and need. And I know that comes at a cost. The other thing though is concurrently keeping in mind other monies that we get as a Chicopee Public Schools entity because of what we told the state we're going to do. So for example, one of those things is the Student Opportunity Act. Chicopee is very fortunate to receive a lot of money because of the qualifications, meaning demographics of our students, staff, as such. And so one of those things we told the state is we were going to expand pre-K. So if you think about that, right, my job is to keep that at the forefront and then also put that in juxtaposition to the vote we just did. So those are the things that now we'll be going back to the table to say, how do we keep things that we told the state we're going to do so we can receive these monies in place that we benefit from and not cut it in the upcoming program review because it will show up differently later on. And I think I don't want to be short-sighted in that. So a lot of these comments that the MSBA has on here is very detailed. And I will tell you, it's already getting my wheels turning to think about how to, what what can be reduced or changed or how we can consolidate. So that conversation is going to be with Ms. Lambert, the current principal of Barry, Mr. Chapdelaine, my team. And that's to speak to Ms. Lambert's point. That's what's going to take time too, to really actually probably decide how do we fit this program that we say we need for kids, more specifically, even around the autism conversation, because we have that specific need in our city. But the MSB is very clear about how many students they think should be in the class, and despite how many students we actually have in our district, that may exceed that number. So it's just going to be a lot of conversation, a lot of decision making, and we'll keep everyone abreast. And my intention is to continue to communicate not only with the commission, because I think we communicate decently well, but one of the conversations I did say was that we need to communicate this project, but also currently how we benefit for grants in our city. So as we start to change things, it changes the potentiality of what we get for other monies. So that's why I put that on the table, because I know that people don't know that. I know that's not a general conversation that we have every day. So that's something that my team and I will be working on with Bert, Adam, and James. It's been a long day. So the second thing is, I know that I want to thank Adam and working with my communications liaison to the survey that we sent out to the community to actually get their feedback. And so I want to have my communication liaison work with team so we can comprise that information and bring back to the commission for our next meeting to actually vocalize what the community is saying about the projects on all sides. So that more to come on that. And then nope, that was it. It was 2. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ware. Again, I think you brought to light again, there's been so much work and so much energy, and so much resolve on the group here, plus the city officials and school department. It's a very complicated and very, very tedious project. It just doesn't happen. And what everybody around this table and everybody working with us is looking for is a state-of-the-art facility that will provide educational experience for the students for not just 20 years or 30 years, but hopefully 50 years and beyond. And what decisions we make, even though there are a lot of components that go into it, we do have to remember again that we are fortunate to be in the position we're in, and that we can start working on the elementary schools in the city of Chicopee. I've lived in the community for almost over 7 decades, and I know we put a lot of energy and resources into the middle schools and the high schools. And again, that was a long journey. And it's time that we really start doing a service also to the elementary and the preschool component. Preschool is such an important facet of a child's education, and it's kind of, for a number of reasons that you could go on forever and say why. It's just kind of been not really addressed the way it ought to have been. It's from the funding component, but from the Commonwealth. With that, is there any other discussion or comment?
Design team has a brief update.
Okay.
So the traffic engineers began their study at the Zatella site September 8th. There was 3 days of traffic counts, and they did perform on September 10th, Wednesday, September 10th, which was trash day on Masick Drive, as someone had requested. We also requested from both schools, Barry and Zatella, principals had counts of parent cars done in the morning and the afternoon, and they provided us with the number of buses and vans and minibuses at each school. And in response to City Councilor Laflamme's comments, we wanted to make sure we could keep all these vehicles on site in all of the options. And it looks like we can do that. So for each school, it's about 100 cars during pickup and drop off time. So this is option A2 on the screen. And we are proposing that parent traffic and bus traffic enters from Mercedes Street. That's the north part of the site. And they're going to enter a one-way drive, and parents will go right behind the building, and buses will continue straight in front of the building. Parent drop-off is at the south side of the school in this option, and bus drop-off is on the east side. And then all traffic would proceed east on LaGuardia and back to Montgomery Street. And yeah, so we laid out all the cars, and there would be some merging that would have to happen, but all the vehicles can fit and get the traffic out of the neighborhoods, not blocking driveways. Now, if this site is selected, when we get to the schematic design phase, we'll do further traffic studies. This is just, architects placing cars on a site plan right now. We'll have the professional traffic engineers really study this hard and make it work for sure. Option A4 is the new Berry School on the Garrity Grove site. So this building would be constructed while the children remain in Berry Elementary School, the existing school. After this building is occupied, the existing Berry School would be demolished. Traffic flow is very similar here. Again, everyone's entering from Mercedes. On the north side of the site, buses are dropping off on the east side of the building, and parent drop-off is on the south. And then everyone exits onto LaGuardia and back to Montgomery Street. One of the comments we got from the counselors was we're showing some park amenities where the existing school was on the south side. They want us to think about not entering not entering the parking lots from like Holly Street and Connell Street. And so it may require moving some of the amenities around and utilizing that school parking that says school parking 55 spaces there. Maybe expanding that a little bit for park parking, and they just want us to think about the public not using those side streets for park access. So we've got some work to do, especially if this scheme is selected. In option B3, a new Berry School would be built on the site of the Zatella School. Students would remain in the existing Berry School. Students would also remain in the existing Zatella School. When the new Berry School is complete, they would move in here. One of the downsides to this option is Berry School, the existing Berry School isn't covered. The demolition of that building wouldn't be covered by the grant. Zatella would remain in place, but there is some significant site upgrades we would need to make in order to get traffic to work for both schools, because it's about 200 cars for a rolling pickup and drop off. We're showing a rotary here as a potential traffic solution. That's just we're just proving that it can fit, but the traffic engineers are studying at least 2 traffic solutions and will present those to us soon. So in this scenario, it's a one-way loop around the whole site. Everyone's entering on from the east on that north road, and then buses and cars are peeling off at various locations for pickup and drop off with bus separation. It's a lot of vehicles on one site, but we can get them all on the site and off of Granby Road, we believe. And again, the traffic study will prove this out further. And that's it, unless there's any questions.
The the B3, okay, you had up there, okay, there's basically a road that would be coming in, correct? Could you explain that a little further?
Sure. So in this scenario, there's some sort of traffic solution on the east side of the site at Granby Road. The site would no longer be entered via Masick Drive. Currently, when anyone coming to the school, the Zatella School enters from Masick Drive, and all those driveways get blocked. So we're proposing to take the property at 562 Granby Road. It's a large property that feeds into the city's property. There's no house on it. It's already been demolished, but it is privately owned. And we would create some sort of traffic solution there, either a rotary or possibly a light across from Edgewood. And all the vehicles would enter on that north road. And then as you go down the north road, the first left is where buses would go in front of Zatella School. The next left is where parent pickup and drop off for Zatella School would be. The third left is where pickup and buses would go for Berry School. Berry's the orange H-shaped building.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, and then pickup and drop off would either occur on the north or south side of the Berry School for the parents. I think it might have to based on all these cars, it may have to take place on the south side of the school, because just to get everybody off of Granby Road and moving. But our main entrance is really on the north side of the school. And for the buses, we've got on the east side of the school, there's the cafeterias right there, so that's a nice place to enter and gather or queue up for dismissal time. Also a good place to enter and grab breakfast on your way to class. So we think that all works nicely.
And gate, would that be for emergency vehicles over on the left, Daniel Drive?
Yes, Daniel Drive, there would be a gate there that would only be for emergency vehicle access.
Okay.
Possibly one at Masick too. Possibly a gate at Masick for, yeah.
And it looks like there's a ball field where the gate is, or it says Berry parking.
Yeah, currently there's 2 ball fields on the site, so we that's one location we could replicate one of the ball fields, and then we're showing it like a multi-purpose field.
Mm-hmm.
We could possibly maintain some of the forested area there as well, depending on what types of active recreation the city ultimately wants or needs.
Okay, all right.
Traffic study yet to show what the traffic would be caused by this, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's in process now. Yeah, we're expecting it pretty soon. I think mid-October.
But also this would leave no room to ever expand the preschool that you were talking about. You'd have to do something else altogether if you renovate.
You renovate, I think renovate Satella. I mean, I think that's what you would have to do.
Mm-hmm.
We could possibly add an addition. One thing, I think the Berry School sets a good example. We're including 3 pre-K classrooms in this school. That may be the way forward as you renovate the other schools, and maybe Zatella eventually phases out.
Trying to think.
Yeah.
longevity stuff.
Absolutely.
If you tried to add on here to grow your program, because you said you could do an addition, then you have more cars, more parents, more traffic. So I'm trying to, in my mind, not just think short-sighted, but sort of add to that component.
Well, if you added on to that building, you just demo the existing building and put your parking over there.
Just asking some questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any other comments or questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, you did a good job. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Kozakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Chapdelaine,
You had to step out.
Ms. Collins Kalba,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Laflamme,
Yes.
Mr. Morno,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sarnelli,
Yes.
Dr. Ware,
Yes.
7 yes, 1 out of chair.
And again, our next scheduled meeting is, I believe, October 9th. Correct? Yes.
That is the Berry open house night. I just wanted to mention, and I know that Bert and they were planning on setting up a table, and I definitely won't be there.
Yep, that's Berry
Okay.
Open House Night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll have to work that night, so I'll